Military aircraft often have notoriously short lifespans, especially fighters, which must constantly compete with the latest models, but there is one notable example from a select few that have endured through the years. Welcome to the MiG-2. Known by its NATO callsign Fishbed and dubbed the Blue Bandit by American pilots who faced it in combat, the MiG-21 is a supersonic jet fighter and interceptor aircraft that ranks among the most widely produced and exported fighters in history. This aircraft was renowned for its speed, capable of catching even the most skilled American pilots, and it was armed with missiles instead of traditional guns, making it a formidable adversary. During Operation Rolling Thunder in Vietnam, the MiG-21 instilled fear among its opponents. Despite its power, impact, and vast production numbers, this Soviet-designed aircraft eventually succumbed to one of the most impressive deceptions in military warfare: early development. In 1953, the Mikoyan-Gurevich Design Bureau initiated studies for a new MiG fighter, spurred by the remarkable success of the MiG-15 and MiG-17. The Soviet design team believed that their aircraft could rival Western counterparts. Although the MiG-19 was already in service as the nation's first supersonic fighter, rapid advancements in jet technology soon rendered it obsolete by the mid-1950s. Thus, the Soviets aimed to address these shortcomings and provide a superior air combat option, with the MiG-21 tailored for the evolving Cold War conflicts. The MiG-21, later named Fishbed by NATO, became the first successful Soviet aircraft to merge fighter and interceptor roles into a single platform. This lightweight fighter could achieve Mach 2 speeds, despite being equipped with a relatively low-powered afterburning turbojet engine. The MiG-21's design largely continued the lineage of its predecessors, with its distinctive triangular delta wings being the most notable innovation. This new configuration allowed the MiG-21 to excel in both speed and maneuverability, solidifying its place in aviation history. Advancements and armament. Among its many technological advancements, the MiG-21 showed a significantly larger capacity for armament. A pivotal moment came when China provided the Soviet Union with an American AIM-9 Sidewinder missile, captured during their conflict with Taiwan. The Soviets seized this opportunity, reverse engineering the missile to create the K-13, an infrared homing short-range air-to-air missile. This new weapon entered service with the Soviet Air Forces in 1960, becoming a standard feature on the MiG-21 and other Russian aircraft. The MiG-21 was equipped to carry various guided air-to-air missiles, unguided bombs, and rockets, with a payload capacity of up to 4,850 pounds for a single mission. Not only was the MiG-21 more heavily armed, but it was also faster and more maneuverable than its predecessors. After a successful maiden flight in 1956, production commenced 3 years later, and the MiG-21 soon entered operational service. Unlike American fighters, which are typically larger and equipped with a plethora of features for diverse missions, the Soviet MiG-21 was relatively small, constructed with traditional materials, and designed for simple manufacturing. This made the MiG-21 tough, reliable, and easy to produce quickly and inexpensively. It could also be maintained by relatively unskilled labor. Overall, the MiG-21 holds the distinction of being the most produced jet aircraft in history, with over 10,645 units built between 1959 and 1985. It has been operated by more than 50 countries, cementing its legacy as a remarkable achievement in military aviation. Performance in Vietnam. As was typical with Soviet fighters, MiG-21 pilots often preferred to operate under ground control, eliminating the need for heavy and sophisticated onboard radar equipment. Designed for short, ground-controlled interception missions, the MiG-21 gained renown for its effectiveness in these roles, particularly over North Vietnam. The first batch of MiG-21s arrived from the Soviet Union by ship in April 1966, assigned to the Vietnam People's Air Force's oldest fighter unit, the 921st Fighter Regiment. These sleek, pencil-thin aircraft capable of reaching speeds of 1,386 miles per hour, but with a limited range of 720 miles, could swiftly cut through bomber formations before US fighters could visually identify and target them. Their agility also allowed them to evade older air-to-air missiles effectively. On July 7, 1966, just 3 months into their operational service in Vietnam, pilots Nguyen Nhat Chieu and wingman Tran Ngoc Siu intercepted several F-105 Thunder Chief supersonic fighter bombers over Phu Quien Air Base. They managed to shoot down one of the American aircraft with Tran's S-5 rocket weapon. This event marked the first time a MiG-21 of the Vietnam People's Air Force downed an enemy aircraft during the conflict. The MiG-21s frequently attacked American formations from multiple directions and angles, forcing the Thunder Chiefs to prematurely drop their bombs. After downing a few aircraft, the MiGs would quickly disengage and return to base, avoiding retaliation. These guerrilla air warfare techniques proved highly successful for the Communists. By December 1966, the MiG-21 pilots of the 921st Fighter Regiment had downed 14 F-105 Thunder Chiefs without a single loss. Meanwhile, the US Air Force and Navy had high hopes for the F-4 Phantom, an all-weather long-range supersonic jet interceptor and fighter bomber. However, the heavier F-4 Phantoms began to suffer significant losses when faced with the lighter, more agile MiG-21. Between May and December 1966, the US Air Force lost 47 aircraft while only managing to destroy 12 North Vietnamese fighters, prompting an urgent need for a comprehensive aerial sweep of the Soviet-made aircraft. The turning point. Over nearly 2 years of airstrikes against the North Vietnamese Air Force's Soviet-made MiG aircraft, American pilots had managed to score fewer than 30 aerial victories. The rules of engagement, however, prevented American pilots from attacking Hanoi's airfields, which was intended to avoid accidental attacks on foreign advisors. Frustrated with these restrictions, the 7th Air Force proposed an elaborate ambush to strike down Hanoi's feared fighter jets. They selected Robin Olds, a renowned colonel in charge of a tactical fighter wing in Thailand, to lead the operation. Initially called the Special Mission, the plan for Operation Bolo aimed to lure MiG-21s into an encounter with F-4 Phantom II fighters. A crucial secret element of the plan involved signal-snooping C-130B-2 aircraft, which were deployed to monitor the MiG's communications and feed real-time information to the American pilots. Olds wanted his task force to be able to retreat if the plan wasn't working, ensuring they could avoid unnecessary risks. On January 2, 1967, the US Air Force launched its attack against the MiG-21s under the leadership of the legendary triple ace pilot Robin Olds. The F-4 Phantoms flew along flight paths typically used by Hanoi's bombers during the Rolling Thunder campaign. This deception lured Vietnamese MiG-21 interceptors into combat, as their pilots expected to encounter the heavier F-105 bombers. Instead, they were met by the more agile F-4, who immediately engaged and downed the MiGs. The operation was a resounding success, resulting in the downing of 7 MiG-21s in a single engagement. Pentagon estimates suggested that Hanoi had between 20 to 25 jet interceptors before the operation, meaning that Operation Bolo eliminated up to 35% of their force in one day. Among the downed aircraft was one piloted by Nguyen Van Cock, an infamous ace who survived the crash and went on to score 9 more victories during the war. Operation Bolo and subsequent aerial ambushes forced the Vietnamese People's Air Force to ground their MiG-21s and re-evaluate their tactics and deployment strategies. This marked a significant turning point in the aerial conflict over Vietnam, highlighting the effectiveness of strategic deception and real-time intelligence in modern warfare. Modern-day legacy. The MiG-21 has been flown by approximately 60 countries across 4 continents, though an exact count is challenging to ascertain, as some nations ceased to exist before the MiGs that served them. Former operators include Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, several European nations like Germany and Finland, and former Soviet territories such as Georgia, Slovakia, and Yugoslavia. The number of operational MiG-21 fighters began to decline in the late 1980s, as more modern models replaced them, and the collapse of the Soviet Union led to a dramatic reduction in Russian air power strength. Despite this decline, the MiG-21 and its Chinese variant continue to serve many nations and are currently used by 18 air forces worldwide, including Russia, Ukraine, and India. Over the years, dozens of variants and upgrades have significantly transformed the MiG-21. Modern-day Fishbeds are equipped with more sophisticated weapons, and electronic upgrades for radar and communication systems. The advent of 3D printing has further facilitated the production of spare parts and upgrades, enabling current operators to maintain their fleets without substantial Russian intervention. The Indian MiG-21, which formed the main operational force of the type, has been updated to potentially remain in service until at least 2025. If this happens, the MiG-21 will solidify its place as one of the most extraordinary success stories of the Soviet air forces. More than 60 years after it first rolled off the production lines, the MiG-21 remains one of the most iconic fighters of the supersonic age. If you enjoyed this video, kindly hit the subscribe and like button for more. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you will be notified when we upload new videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.